Light the beam! Light the beam! Light the beam! Light the beam!
Oh, light the beam indeed. Welcome into the Wednesday night edition of the Sports Cave with Biggest Puma. I am your host, Sam Freas, as always, back in the room once again, broadcasting live here on the greater north side of San Antonio, where the countdown continues. We find ourselves 3 weeks away, 21 days away from the first round of the NBA draft.
Tim Duncan.
Oh, we could do that game. We could do Monday night show was we were Jordan days away from a 28. We were Adrian Peterson days away.
I honestly memorize my combinations and passcodes by sports players' jersey numbers.
So I'm
like Ron Artest, Shaq, Kobe, Tim Duncan.
And now you know his social security number. Yeah, I almost just told you what mine is, but that literally would have been my pin to everything because I do the exact same thing. As always, that voice that you hear is the Cap himself joining me across the table, as well as the wunderkind that is LG in the other room. I always hesitate to see.
The Germans.
Always hesitate to see. We have drop connection. Do we have microphone connection?
I think our ISDN line is working today.
Spectacular.
Hey, look at him now.
The Comrex is operating as it should be.
The JK unit is functional.
I thought we were doing the slimming three-way here.
Oh, you want to do a three-way?
Yeah.
You want to do a three-way? Here we go.
See, look at us.
Like the three-way?
Look at us. Yeah. Get you right in the middle, right where I want you.
Puma doesn't have a monitor, so he's blind to the video aspect.
This show to me, this
is like a little Nutella with the 2 pieces of white bread on it.
It is still an audio show to me. So yeah, do whatever you want with the video. I can only imagine what it actually looks like. But LG,
we're sandwiching LG right now.
Since we have a solid connection with you, why don't you tell the good people how they can help us by subscribing?
Hit that subscribe button right there on your phone or on your computer. If you're on a TV, grab the remote and hit the subscribe button. Or you can leave us a tip at buymeacoffee.com/sportscavelive. It's on the screen right now if you need to read it.
Well, that's why one of us has to have the video in front of them.
I get distracted by fast-moving objects.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us. As always, the subscription on YouTube is absolutely free. It just helps us out. So if you don't mind, even if you're not ever going to watch the videos and you're all audio like I am, still give us a subscription.
Please.
Last night. You'll be proud of me.
Oh, did you gorilla market?
No, I pulled the Cap move.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I literally just grabbed my buddy's phone at the bar. We were sitting there. I was like, hey, you have YouTube on your phone? Yeah, that's random. I was like, can I see it?
Can I see it?
It just got us one.
Just be like, let me show you this video real quick. And then you just subscribe it to him, and then you just pull up like, oh, I can't find it. And you give it back to him.
Yeah, I'm gonna start trying to make form a habit of doing that because there's enough times where we are out in public and everyone has their phones locked into their phones.
It's not aggressive.
No. And it's perfect. It's absolutely free. It's not costing you a single penny to help us out.
Not even an email.
Oh man, I think as we're continuing, I mentioned on Monday's show, we're now starting the third month of this Sports Cave 2.0 operation here. And I think we're about to open up an email to have some viewer.
What?
So if you need to send something a little more long form, because I think I've got some ideas on soliciting some viewer and listener feedback.
I did create an email for us, so I'm that much closer to the TikTok. That much closer.
Well, I did notice you're closer.
My Instagram.
To the end, yeah.
Dude, I'm learning stuff. Like after I leave here, I start doing all my I started doing all my promotions, and I'm talking to all the bar girls, and they're teaching me a lot of stuff, man.
Well, those are the ones that could actually those are the.
I'm like, how do you make your ass move back and forth like that?
Yeah, exactly. Like, how do you do that? That little TikTok move you do there.
Exactly.
No, it's they're like the martial arts sensei of social media.
Yeah. When they're not paying attention to you and not getting you a drink, that's what they're doing. They're playing on Instagram and figuring out all this stuff for you. That's what I figured out.
See, and those are the skills. Those are the skills we need. And I'm glad you are out there doing the hard work of talking to
I found
attractive bartenders to help our social media presence.
Figured out what
That's
AI thinks of us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm still a mystery on there, man. They don't know me.
That's good. Well, that means we're doing a good job.
We're doing a great job.
Yeah, some it's like a long marriage. Like once you know everything, it's not as much fun. Yeah, you got to have a little bit of mystery. As always, on Wednesdays, we start with a little bit of what I watched. And I think I am ready to declare yesterday was the worst sports on TV day of the year so far.
Except for the Yankees.
It was brutal. Well, outside of baseball, which we're going to have. And I say that I kind of.
You know how many days we're going to have of this? It's just baseball.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't count baseball yet necessarily because I'm already thinking about the entire month of July where all I'm going to do is watch baseball.
Yeah, after the draft, after the All-Star break, it's just baseball.
And once I start going down that daily baseball viewing routine, it's not nearly as it's like last night it was just so jarring that there wasn't some kind of meaningful playoff or NCAA tournament game to watch.
Because you were getting sports gangbanged over there,
That's
man.
1,000% what it was. Yeah, and it was. We had hockey, basketball.
I'm here for the gangbang.
College baseball.
Women's softball.
Okay, so we did. Yeah, last night.
Women's softball.
Did have women's
Give
softball.
Give a lady some. I saw what Oregon got. Did we talk about the Oregon player who got just nailed in the face?
We talked about that on a couple episodes ago, yeah. Well, there was the other play, too, where the Oregon pitcher, as she was throwing it, a clod of dirt from her cleat flew up, and the ball hit the clod of dirt, similar to like the Randy Johnson hitting the pigeon or hitting the bird that flew by.
Yeah.
But it happened right in front of the plate, so the catcher is framing, getting ready to catch, and then all of a sudden this dirt clod just explodes and goes right into her eye.
Oh, my God.
She was able to catch it, but it was one of those once in a million
Poor girl.
odds. But no, last night it was the Lady Red Raiders that got their guns up and beat the 4-time defending champion Oklahoma Sooners.
I mentioned that on Monday, man. I was excited. How are they doing now?
I can't fake it. I mean, I just there's I mean, I got nothing for you. It's Oklahoma. Any sport where a team can win 4 straight national championships already kind of tells me.
Well, you know why?
It's like Tennessee, Pat Summitt back in the day at Tennessee, where there's just no competition.
They had this one big old picture that just dominated for them for 4 years. That's one of the reasons why they won 4 straight championships, as well as getting all the talent because of this one pitcher that was throwing like 15 miles an hour higher than any other pitcher, and then just dropped a nasty curveball on you, and just, man, F you, OU.
It feels, especially college softball more, because I saw the stat the other day. Apparently, I knew nothing about it going into it, but the Tech softball team is like the biggest NIL investment in women's softball this year.
Really?
So they
paid the most money
of all the Tech has one dude who just sold his oil and natural gas company for like $4.8 billion, and he's just funding the Tech NIL collective.
All of it.
And he's
not just softball. He's not just like a creepy, like,
all of it.
Just a softball fan.
Well, that's why they've had their best recruiting classes in history in football back-to-back years. Obviously, the basketball team was, Elite 8 or Sweet 16 this year.
Yeah, they've been good for a while.
Yeah, they were Elite 8. They should have been they should have beat Florida. But the women's softball team, apparently, they got there's a really good pitcher. She was at Stanford. They paid like $1.5 million to bring her to Lubbock. And and they on the season she has 35 wins.
On one season?
Again, things I didn't realize about women's softball. They can throw basically every game.
I guess that underarm.
Exactly. And that's why they can throw 120, 130 pitches.
I guess that doesn't give you as bad as the elbow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, like,
you
getting
play
one.
ball like a girl.
You know, I think as most of people my age, I really only got into softball with Arizona's, was it Arizona State's? No, Arizona's Jenny Finch.
Oh, yeah, the old Arizona. Or, oh, God, what was the Kat Osterman? The Texas pitcher. Yeah, those are about
it was just Jenny Finch.
About the only softball names I can think of.
I'll still track her down.
They, Tech led by that one. You mentioned the Oklahoma pitcher that carried them to 4 national championships. Well, Tech now has a pitcher that has carried them to their first appearance in the Women's College World Series, playing Texas in the final. I mentioned the French.
It's an all-Texas final.
It is, yeah.
Oh.
That's fun.
Ooh.
I mean, sure.
Surprisingly, I know a lot of Texas Tech fans. Like, there's a group of them around here. I don't know if there's just like a transfer or if that's just
I think there's
an anomaly or whatever.
Well, I mean, like, I'm obviously, married to a born and raised Lubbock citizen that went to Tech, but
Lubbock.
That she's the opposite. She's the inverse of growing up there and now living here. I don't know. My first guess would be there's a lot of people that want to get as far away from home as they can, but not leave the state.
So they go to the Panhandle.
So they go to Lubbock. I mean, it's just or El Paso maybe. But yeah, no. Tech has a strong alumni base all over the state. But the only other thing besides softball yesterday, I did watch a lot of the French Open. Been watching a lot of tennis because all of I think I mentioned it before, but the job that TNT or Max is doing, I think they're killing it.
Caught it.
I think they're doing great.
So when does the games usually come on?
So the window is like, well, now we're into the semis.
Yeah.
So it's the window had been from like 4 a.m. till 4 p.m. all day. It was just on in the background.
That's why I like it. I like but the British Open is like same time because it's something to watch from 1 to 2,
right?
12 to 2 or something like that.
My favorite one is the Australian Open for tennis because it always starts right when the bars close. So I would always when I was at Texas State, we would close down the bar.
But you had something to watch.
Go home and watch watch tennis, as riveting as that sounds as a college experience. But the men's side of the bracket, actually, we're going to get Djokovic versus Sinner as one of the semi-final matchups. So
you're telling me the kid, the Spaniard, didn't make it?
He's the other side. He's the other. Alcaraz and
okay.
Musetti, the Italian, if you couldn't guess by the name. So hopefully we get a Alcaraz versus either Joker or Sinner. Sinner's the number one.
American, right?
Italian. He's Italian as well. He's ginger. He looks Irish, but he's Italian.
So all the Americans went out in the quarters.
Yeah. Tommy Paul got demolished by Alcaraz, and Tiafoe lost to Musetti, the Italian. So, and there was a little bit of controversy in that. Musetti actually kicked a ball during the match that hit a linesman.
Oh, that's a disqualification.
Usually it is. And that's what Tiafoe said after the match.
Who did that?
They gave him so it was Joker in 2020. I think it was 2020. And it was the U.S. Open. And he hit a ball, and it hit one of the judges in the throat, and he got disqualified. That's the last big one.
Because he hit it hard because he turned around and
he was mad.
Yeah.
Right. This one was more of a it was a kick. It wasn't.
You don't know where it's going to go. It's not a soccer ball. It's a tennis ball.
If rules are rules.
We live in a society.
Exactly. And that's what Tiafoe was saying after the match, but to no avail.
We're living in a society.
He goes down. So all the Americans are out. We did Coco Gauff on the women's side, she's made it into the semis. So still at least one American alive in the bracket. But
anybody else that we would know on the women's side? Or
Sabalenka, the number one player in the world, she's in it. Swiatek, however you say her name, that's who Sabalenka's playing, which should be a good matchup. But hopefully, on the women's side, it'd be great to see Coco versus Sabalenka in the final.
Yeah.
I can't lie, I love tennis. I mean, with this kind of frame, tennis was the hobby all the time.
Playing tennis, because we didn't have to run far. We could just sit there and stretch. And
exactly.
Just believe it or not, in my heyday, which was like probably 5 years ago, I used to go out and play tennis to get the workout.
I can see it's a great workout.
And it was just the thing is I could make the other person run because I knew the angles, I knew the geometry, I knew how to top spin, I knew how to drop shot.
So that's who my dad was growing up. My dad was. He's built more like a lumberjack. He's like 5'10", 5'11", but stout lumberjack build. And his whole goal anytime we played tennis growing up was to stand in one spot for as long as possible.
Well, that's the goal.
It would drive me insane. It would drive me insane.
If you get me running, you're winning.
Yeah, that's just take the point. But now besides the softball and the tennis, as riveting as that was, as you mentioned, we did have some Major League Baseball, and we've got all summer to talk baseball, so I don't want to go too deep into it. But tell me if you've heard this before: Rangers bats go missing. They only score one run. They lose 5-1 in Tampa, which I want to talk about that stadium here in a second.
One job.
The Rangers are now 9-19 on the road this year.
Ooh.
And they're already losing again tonight.
You guys gotta give up on those pitchers. I'm just saying. Just give up on the pitchers. Give it to the Yankees.
Okay. It's certainly not going to the Yankees if they do anything. The only bright spot you could take out of the game last night, the one run the Rangers did score, Adolis scored it after he actually got a hit on he was able to get a hold of a fastball outside, which usually is something
and just shot the other way.
Yeah, just poked it the other way. So Adolis, after a 4-game benching, Adolis gets a hit now and scores the only run. But they can't generate any offense.
Quick note: who's the second team? Because obviously the Rangers are the first team, the worst at scoring runs. Who's the one above them?
I mean, my first guess would just be Colorado.
Cleveland Indians.
Really?
Yeah, I found that out yesterday watching the game, and right now they're 4-0 on us, man. We're the ones who can't score a run.
Oh,
their pitchers are 2-4 in wins and stuff like that, but they're keeping over the last 9 games, they're keeping under a 2 ERA. I think they average 2.3 runs a game or something like that.
Yeah, that's right where the Rangers are too.
So
I think the only pitcher in baseball that possibly has more to complain about than any of the Rangers starters is poor Paul Skeens in Pittsburgh. There was a lot of P's in a row. It's somehow, as dominant as he is, as he's been, has a losing record because that Pittsburgh team can't score any runs for him. But the main takeaway, again, last night, watching a little bit of that game in Tampa, I don't think it's being talked about enough how ridiculous it is a Major League Baseball season is being played at a spring training facility. It's not even a minor league ballpark. It's a spring training ballpark.
Yeah, I don't A, you're taking it away from the fans that want to go there. B, God knows what the facility looks like. C, as we already know from Judge getting robbed a home run, they don't even have the correct the goal the foul poles.
Yeah, the facility is not up to level.
It's not just,
and we
it's
saw
not
it
up to specs, man.
Last night as well. There was a question with a ball whether it went over the fence or not.
Yeah.
And there's just no replay angles like you have in a regular. You just can't see things. So there's a part of me the
Well, I'm glad it was more close than that one because they found an angle with the one with
For the Judge one?
where it was obvious.
Yeah.
And for some
that
reason
one was clear.
It came a little later because I guess in the spring training the feed to the media truck is slower as well. But like all of a sudden it was
so you can't get
like
the replay angle to see.
If they got that replay angle because they already called it.
Right.
They called it a foul. Then they go and challenge it, and then they're sitting there trying to get the replay angles, and they're waiting, and finally, like, they called it again, and then they showed this angle that was clear as day that it was a home run. And it was just
it's indefensible. I mean, and I mentioned
and we got two teams doing it.
Right. But there is at least, to me in my head, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like there is some level of difference between playing in an actual minor league stadium that has had a baseball team play full seasons in it versus playing in a spring training complex like the Rays are. Yeah, at least Oakland is playing in a proper baseball facility. It's not a practice field. Tampa it's a practice field. Yeah. You can't say anything higher than that. You can't give it any higher level of compliment than that.
And I know you want to keep the field near the actual where the team plays, but NFL has moved New Orleans down to San Antonio. That's 8 hours away, so that's semi-close. But then you had New Orleans also, this boat Katrina, go to OKC. Like, if you got to go to another state to get a proper field, go to another state.
Yeah, especially when you're Tampa right there, so you're not like down at the bottom of the state, like Miami or anything like that. Like you're
not on the tip.
Somewhere in that, correct?
Right on the tip.
You could somewhere in that southern, triangle right there or quadrant of Georgia, Alabama, somewhere in there. You could have surely found something better than where they're at. I will say
that's the Gulf of America, sir.
Oh, that's sure. Let's go with that. The one thing about the Oakland situation, I don't know if y'all saw this a couple weeks ago. I meant to send LG the video back when it happened, but the Oakland A's manager got ejected, and it hadn't, I guess, occurred to anybody. He has to walk from the dugout all the way down the foul line to the gate that is on the outfield fence. So he gets ejected,
just muttering
the whole time, cussing to himself under his breath. Yeah.
Do you do a light jog? Like, I mean, I would at least try to jog it off.
I would walk,
or I'm just gonna sit there and walk and just F them the whole time.
Like remember when you were a kid when it would be like, I'm going to walk as slow as I can. Like, I would absolutely, because what are you going to do? Kick me out again? You've already ejected me.
I don't know how many of my little leaguers that I used to coach. I'm like, come on, run. I know you missed that ball, but come running from the outfield. And they went running. I'm like, run.
No, you're not getting,
come on.
You're not getting any more effort out of that. But yeah, man, just every time I see any of the clips from these games in Tampa, it just feels like, and I understand it was because of the, storm hurricane that hit the Trop, but surely it feels in a very Tampa Bay way. This feels like it was just the cheapest option.
Dude, what are you going to do? Deny the 2,000 fans that actually go to the games?
Yeah, and that's the other shame of it, because the rate, like,
give another town a chance to prove, we tried to prove to New Orleans that we needed a NFL team here in San Antonio, so we tried to show out. You know what I'm saying? When there was 5 games here,
they're not showing out for the Brahmas right now.
That's not really.
I
NFL.
Can't sell my parking for any of those games. Nobody wants them.
Puma's had to discount his parking for the Brahmas.
It's discounted to just free, or just bring me lunch or something.
Yeah, you got a beer in your car?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got a roadie, a Lucy for me? Yeah. If you could move Tampa, if you could on paper write down where you wanted Tampa to go tomorrow, where would you?
Oh, I would go one of the Carolinas.
Really?
Yeah, I I think North Carolina and South Carolina are some of the fastest growing cities.
Yeah.
Charlotte and
Charlotte, big time.
And
that whole
because you got the coastal region there, so you got the coast close, but then also it's not overpopulated. You're still kind of country, but then they're like upgrading it. So any of the Carolinas.
That's I'd never thought about that. How there's not a pro baseball team in either one of the Carolinas, because that's all. Like you think about college based, like Coastal Carolina is hosting a super regional, just won their regional that they hosted.
Yeah.
South Carolina's won national championships in college baseball.
Yeah.
North Carolina is always in the tournament. Duke won their it's a baseball hotbed. I've never thought about the fact that there's not.
It's not like it's Nebraska or something.
See, I was gonna say it's funny. I was gonna say Nashville because the roommate just got back from a trip to Nashville, and she always talks about how
that'd be a great
it's a
baseball town
city, a baseball city to match the just the vibe of the city too. It's
Memphis
baseball.
I mean, Tennessee doesn't even have a baseball team.
No, I guess Nashville. The Titans claim Nashville, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But no baseball. And what was it? The Nashville Sounds, longtime minor league baseball team there, has a lot of tradition in the region.
Facility's better than the one they're playing in now.
Yeah. Well, what was it? So they used to be the Brewers minor. There was a team that had to play a couple games at their stadium not that long ago, and it's one of the nicer minor league facilities.
There's about to be a real nice one in Erie because that's where John Oliver picked.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that's where.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, that should be.
Show us what's up.
That should be good. But besides that, I mean, like I said, I'm ready to declare it the worst sports on television day of the year. Tonight, as we sit here, we do have the Stanley Cup Finals kicking off, where Panthers are already up 3-1 at the start of the second period. But let me, before we rush to eliminate the Oilers or make any grand proclamations that this series is over, I will say if I don't get the Stars in the Stanley Cup Final, this is the matchup. Oh, as I say that, Oilers just scored 3-2 now.
Time hockey. Connor McJesus.
Yeah, McJesus is inevitable. If I can't have the Stars in it, this is the matchup I wanted because we saw, last year. Well, first of all, McJesus, we get to see the best player in the world play in the Stanley Cup Finals. That's great. The Panthers are the defending champions, trying to go back to back. This is actually their third straight appearance in the finals. They lost the first appearance, won last year against the Oilers, but specifically, last year this series went Florida games 1, 2, and 3, and then Edmonton's game 4, 5, and 6.
Oh man!
So Florida was up 3-0. Edmonton comes back.
I didn't even know that.
Right. And so that's why I say I think I
knew it probably at the time.
At the time,
I'm watching it, but
it's hockey. You forget.
It didn't resonate. Like I was even trying to think, when did the Phillies win the World Series? It was 2 years ago, right?
I mean, that sound
because Dodgers was last year. The year
No,
before?
2 years ago was Rangers. So it has to at least be 3 years ago.
Well, you're not the Rangers. I'm talking baseball.
Oh, I thought you said Phillies.
You're thinking of the Flyers.
No, you're thinking of the Flyers.
I think we're thinking of two different things.
What
sir.
are you talking
I
about?
don't know, man. Scratch it.
Scratch that. LG, dump all of that. Dump all of that. The only other thing I mentioned, going back to Monday's episode, told the story of the guy that was having issues with where I was standing at the concert. And look, I understand bringing these stories to the pod. There is a common denominator in all of these moments of confrontation, and it's me because I'm the one that's telling these stories. Yeah. But I guarantee you, I saw a guy sarcastically mention that, and he's not wrong, absolutely not wrong. But I think the greater takeaway, and I was talking to the roommate about this on the drive home from the airport earlier today, because airports are one of the last places on earth where it truly is it's a Thunderdome. I mean, it is a death match.
People running with suitcases, kids like get
Everyone's
over here
stressed.
screaming.
Everyone's either ready to, running late for a flight or ready to be home from a trip.
They're either drunk or wired on coffee.
Exactly. Everyone. It's just not. It's just not a. It's not a location that brings out the best in humans. To put it lightly.
The best airport I ever seen is Salt Lake City. Those Mormons.
Yeah, I was about to say
nice.
that doesn't surprise me.
Very nice.
But with her traveling, it's always she'll be walking down a sidewalk or like even in the grocery store. That's another place that brings out the worst in people.
I hate grocery
So
store.
when you're walking and two people are walking towards each other, one of those people is expected to move out of the way.
Oh, now do you lock eyes or do you act like you're looking somewhere else?
So this is what the roommate said, and I think she described it perfect. Of 90% of the time, most people just move on their own. Just like I don't need this. I'll get out of the way. I'm getting out of the way.
Yeah.
But that 1 out of 10 time is when it escalates and becomes a confrontation. I'm the kind of guy that it's no 90-10 split. It's a 10-90 split. There is one time I will get out of the way. 90% of the time, like you said, we're locking eyes. We're coming to some nonverbal agreement on how we're going to traverse past each other.
Yeah.
And I understand.
It's like whoever looks away first is the one moving.
Yeah, you broke. You got to get out of the way. Like, I understand I'm the common denominator here, but I think a lot of it is people just don't give a damn about being decent to each other anymore. It's a lot of that. Everyone
Absolutely
is.
not.
Yeah, when you're at there's no fear of repercussions or accountability. If you want to be a dick, if you want to be a jerk, who's going to do anything about it? And I'm not suggesting I am the last defender of decency dying on this wall. It's just more of I cannot stand being disrespected by strangers.
It's the injustice of it.
It's 1,000%.
It's the injustice. I'm just like, so that's why I'm
can't
pretty
handle
sure
it.
Curb Your Enthusiasm is one of your favorite shows.
1,000% is.
Sweet Larry David.
Yes.
Like this,
that is one of my
this table's
heroes.
wobbly. I hate this.
This
is no good.
This is untenable.
This is no good.
This is untenable. So
Sweet John Hamm acting like Larry David was one of the greatest things in the world.
like, I understand, like the roommate told me, most people, it's not worth it to them to ever say anything and just let the jerk be a jerk and move on with your life.
That was the wife, man.
I can't live like that.
Confrontation, like, it's not like it fueled me. It just never scared me.
No.
Like, I'm always like that one old lady that sits there and cuts in line. Excuse me, miss.
Oh, yeah, no, you can hop on back.
I was like, there's a line here. Oh. I was like, don't act like you can't hear me. I'll go over there and tap on you.
See, okay, there is some arbitrary line where, like, I'm not standing at the express checkout and being like, nope, that's 12 items. It's 10 or less. You've got 12.
Oh,
Get out.
yeah,
Like, I'm not searching it out
You're
like
not
that.
super Karen.
No, it's not a Karen whatsoever. It's only when it starts to affect me personally.
Yeah.
Like a guy standing in front of my wife at a concert.
It's almost not even me. If it's affecting a total stranger that I see that is super non-confrontational, like, and I see like someone just gets super nervous and like super that triggers me. That will kick me into Captain Save-A-Ho type mode or something where I'm just like, hey, nah, you gotta get your butt back in the line right there, sir.
Yeah,
like,
you're more of a superhero than I am there, because if it's not affecting me, this is honestly basically my mantra on life. If it's not affecting me or someone I care about, I don't really give a damn. I'm not stepping in. I'm not involving myself in someone else's business.
Did you ever bounce at bars or anything?
No.
Oh, okay. I think it's the bouncer in me where it's like if you're causing a commotion and I see clearly you're the problem.
I work security at like concerts, and that's the closest I could ever.
Where you had to kick someone out. And like if they're starting to yell or if someone's being irate and you can tell that they're completely drunk and hammered and you're just like, get out of here. And I'm like, if I can crush this situation and like 9 times out of Like 95% of the times when there was a fight, I could kill a fight with just raising my voice and just being intimidating. It's the total, like, they could have been a martial arts expert and totally whooped my butt. You know what I'm saying? But it was just hey, you bark at them, you know?
Yeah, just to get that attention.
It's the animal kingdom right there. I'm just like, I could kill confrontations easily, and then as soon as their guard is like, oh no, shattered, then I'll build them up, kind of like the pimp game. You know, you break them down to build them up. Be like, look, you're in the wrong, but it's all right, sir. All right, we can come back from this.
I love
but don't cross that line again, or I'm gonna get real mad. But we'll come back from this.
Yeah,
Is Wayne Brady gonna have to choke a bitch?
Exactly.
if I'm getting paid to do it, that makes it slightly different. But that's about the only time you will see me stepping into those situations. But I think most people out there that hear these stories, you have stuff like that happen to you every day.
Yeah.
You're just choosing not to.
It's like the people
Escalate.
with someone who doesn't want to tell the person with their feet bulkhead on an airline.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'd been like, nah, that's disgusting.
Yeah, you got to stop. Like,
I'd
we're not doing
I'd be
that.
in the 18th row being like, that's disgusting. Put your shoes on.
Yeah, that I just can't let it stand. That as the dude, that level of aggression will not stand. Like and that's the juxtaposition of it, because I'm not out there looking for action like that.
It's not like I wish an MFer would.
But yeah, no.
I'm just like, if it comes up, I'm not shying away from the moment.
Yeah, I'm certainly not going to stand down. But besides that,
the greatest ones, and the greatest ones are when it's a very attractive girl, and you can tell that they have never been talked to like that in their lives.
Yeah,
or I'm
is
just like, ma'am, you are wrong. You're out of control. You need to leave.
Yeah, the shell shock.
They look at you, and they're confused for a minute. They get that little wide-eyed deer look, like, what just happened? And then I repeat myself, and I'm like, you are out of control. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, who are you? And then they start, of course, I always get called fat, and I'm like, good one. And I'm
good.
Hey, nice. I was like, you're short. Cool.
Yeah, what are we doing here? It reminds me of the Tinder apparently now is allowing you to filter by height.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for if you're a girl looking for he's under 6'3", no way.
Dude, I never realized how height was such an advantage for game when I was younger. Like, I never had a father. I never had a father figure. I never had a father figure show me game. And I had to just learn on my own. And I never knew height was a trump card for everything. And I should have played that one.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean,
I regret so much.
It's one of the few things that I had working in my favor.
Because you probably had your dad telling you, son, you are 6'7".
Yeah, I had my dad constantly reminding me of what he would have done if he had been my height. And that's a true story. Before we get into some of your show ideas that we've been talking about behind the scenes, LG, we got to talk about the hopeful pending arrival of your most recent big purchase. And, of course, by that, I'm referring to the glorious Nintendo Switch 2 that comes out.
Yes, with Mario Kart, open world Mario Kart.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you, honestly?
Probably a 3.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it?
Oh, he's such a liar.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, Sports Cave World, this man, his butthole's puckered for the next 2 days until he gets his Switch.
It'll be fine, but I'm more interested in what they have in store for newer first party games.
Yeah,
a new Zelda.
Yeah, what comes after.
I hope they go away from the open world of Zelda and go back to the roots. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, I'm curious.
Back when Castlevania was the 2D and
I want another Ocarina of Time. I want something like that.
That would. I kind of support that idea.
Never played it.
Yeah. Missing out, man. Missing out. But yeah, hopefully Walmart delivers. There's been all sorts of cases being posted on Reddit of canceled orders from Walmart.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah, so we'll see.
I was gonna ask you who
I'm gonna try to like I'm trying to get some people to rob some Walmart trucks.
Yeah, I was going to ask who
great.
you pre-ordered through because I think Walmart right now probably has the worst track record of what I've been seeing.
It's not good. Definitely not good. But mine still says pending, so we'll see.
Well, if it does actually make it here, I would assume we're going to see some of that maybe pop up on the old Twitch stream.
Oh, yeah. We'll do some Mario Kart on Twitch sure.
I'll play some of that one.
I was about to say,
I play Mario Kart, but like sitting down for Zelda or the one that he's crying.
No, that's a time commitment.
The little RPG that he's crying on.
That's a solo player game. Both of those games are solo player games.
That's where you play in the dark and don't tell anybody.
Yeah, or you Twitch it out for the millions to see.
Right, exactly, and go viral as you're
crying.
Exactly.
That was so sad. It was so sad.
I can see some quad box Mario Kart between the three of us and the roommate on a Twitch stream.
Oh, it'd have to be
sometime soon.
Yeah.
Because I will be let the explicits fly.
Because there you go.
Well, it's going to be online too, so there's going to be a lot of
oh man, you're gonna get
mom jokes and racist cussing from 7-year-olds. You know,
Yeah,
the 7-year-old just saying the N-word over and over and over.
The one
and over
that
again.
like when the I think it was the Wii when it first came out, and I for the first time ever fired up a Mario Kart online race. I'm not kidding you. Every single person in the lobby I was in that I was racing against were all designed to look like Hitler.
Jesus.
Yes. And quickly, I was like,
They
what
let
the
that
hell?
they let that little stash in there.
That's what.
well, you can create your own.
You can create your own.
It's like you got the beard and you can like shave it for what you.
You can put
Oh
any
my
stash you
God.
want.
Exactly.
On
And
your
so-
me character.
It made me. There's two parts of me here because the true actual liberal in me says
Society, man.
I don't like the censorship or the removal of anything.
Yeah.
Let society determine. Going back to the problem with people, everyone just doesn't care about being decent anymore. Used to, public shaming of stupid crap like that would be enough to stop people from doing it. Those days are dead.
You know, that was my first thought when Minecraft came out. I'm like, how many swastikas got built?
Right. Yeah. Like there's, and a Nintendo of all companies, if it's Call of Duty or something like that, I understand they don't give it. They just want to make money. But Nintendo, their whole ethos is still
Generate for the young
family
gamer.
and
Yeah.
young kids.
They jumped over that line when they allowed hentai to be released on the current Switch that's out right now.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I think they threw the morals out the window on this last Switch edition, so it'll be no different for the two.
Okay.
You know, I had to explain to like a couple friends of mine that are mothers.
No, that's enough.
That'd be like, your kid's gonna watch something that's gonna totally gross you out. It's normal. It's not normal, but you're going to see it, and you're gonna ask yourself, why on earth is he watching this? Is my kid a psycho? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, every kid has seen this. Every guy has seen this. Like we all know what hentai is. We all know what.
Well, it reminds me of the
tentacle.
The parents, like for our generation, the parents that I specifically remember one of my friends when his parents found Rotten.com in the search history. Yeah. Dude, it was as if he had committed. It was as if he had. It was like he was Dylan Klebold and it was Columbine, and he had just done the unthinkable. And it was.
Well, I had to deal with a wife. Pale face walking into the room acting like she just saw death herself, and she saw YouTube of some tentacle Japanese cartoon porn. You know, and that's all I have to say there. And I'm she's looking at me like
pretty shocking.
I'm like, I don't get it, you know, but like,
not to
have we all watched it? Like we're gonna watch a car crash. You know, but then when she saw that I was like it's all right, calm down, blah, blah. That freaked her out even more.
Yeah, because then all of a sudden she assumed. Well, and the first assumption
I was
is,
like, there's a whole subgenre.
oh, wait, damn, he must be really into this. This must be what he loves. And now I'm living with a psycho.
I was like, all kids go through an anime phase. You know, it's real popular with the kids now, and this is part of the phase. You know, and like I've had to tell some of my friends that are like single mothers, I'm like, your boys will go through this phase. Just don't make them feel ashamed. Like, don't shame them. Like, don't be like, it's okay to watch. But like,
yeah, there's a line, there's a balance.
Yeah,
there.
don't send them off to military school.
That was literally. So my buddy that when his parents found Rotten.com, they absolutely threatened to send him to like a boarding school, a military school, because they were worried he's
going to see more of it.
They were worried he was being corrupted by all of us. You know.
All right, moving on from topics.
The something behind the scenes that has been taking place over these first couple months of doing the show again is you have quite a bit of ideas for show segment.
Oh yeah, they just run through my mind.
And I love a good ideas guy, but I don't mind being the guy that says absolutely not to a lot of them.
You got to rein me in, man.
But, well, the only way you can say no is if you present them. Or the only reason we can. But you mentioned one recently. I think it was earlier this week, actually. The great Keith Hernandez on the
Seinfeld Zone.
Yeah, that's why you want to do a Keith Hernandez segment.
No, I know when you said the name, because I didn't know who the announcer was. And then you said, that's Keith Hernandez. And I'm like, why does that name sound familiar? Keith Hernandez. Oh, he whipped it out. That's right.
Yeah, he's also he was a solid baseball player. Had an almost identical career to Will Clark, numbers wise.
I watched Seinfeld religiously for the past 20 years. Just trust me.
Yeah, the Keith Hernandez one, I didn't think about the Seinfeld connection, but as soon as you said it, there was a clip that was floating around this past weekend. LG, you got this? And as soon as you mentioned Keith Hernandez, there are enough clips that go, like earlier this year, there was him on the hot mic saying, what did he say? That's piss poor hitting. They were coming back from break, he didn't realize his mic was hot. And this one from this past weekend is Keith Hernandez I
really didn't know who it was.
He might become our muse. Like, we might have regular occurrences where we bring some Keith Hernandez audio to the show, because this is what they pulled off this past weekend.
By Blue Chew, chew it and do it. And by your local tri-state area Audi dealers.
What did you mean by that?
I just read the copy here. I try to give it a good read. Try and give the advertiser everything that they paid for, Keith.
A good read.
And then it's somebody else's problem. Mickey Moniak is 0 for 2, and he grounds one weakly on the right side for Acuna. And he makes the play 1-away. I mean, I did read it well, didn't I?
Oh, you always. You're a champ.
Sorry.
You're a pro.
Look at that. I'm happy.
So
by
if you
Blue
missed
Chew.
that, LG, give us the top there. Give us the first part of
I
that.
haven't heard that one. That was good.
Happy. By Blue Chew, chew it and do it. And by your local tri-state area Audi dealers.
This pause where he's deciding.
What did you mean by that?
What do you mean
What
by
did you
that?
mean?
Copy here. I try to give it a good read. Try and give
The
the
one I showed you was with
the
the hot dog. Well, I like a good hot dog. Yeah, she looks like she's really enjoying. Looks like blah blah blah. I wasn't talking about the hot dog.
Exactly. And
Like, it was just like
that is Keith Hernandez every single Mets game. Like, first of all, how does Blue Chew get those copy points approved to begin with? Chew it and do it. Like that. That doesn't feel like...
We live in a different age, sir.
Yeah, again, the lack of public shame. It doesn't feel
Dick pills are in our life and staying there forever.
It doesn't feel like that is something that MLB really thought through or crossed their desk of vetting. But Keith Hernandez, that pause as he's determining what he's going to respond with, and then putting it back on the play-by-play of, what did you mean by that?
I can see Keith Hernandez just probably sitting here fiddling around, and all of a sudden just,
yeah, he hears it and just slowly turns and looks at him.
what do you mean by that?
My second favorite part of that clip, and one of the things that always cracks me up when one of these announcing moments goes viral, well, hell, it's the Castellanos, a deep fly, deep drive to right field. That will be a home run. It's always when the announcers go from the giggles and laughing and then Mickey Moniak up to the plate now, and he immediately goes right back into like, oh yeah, we were having fun laughing about boners. Now we're back to baseball. Mickey,
remember that
headset again?
Who said that racist or homophobic thing? And then he's sitting there trying to be like, I said something that shouldn't have been on air and blah, blah, blah.
As I just said.
Is that him?
Yes.
Is that it? Oh, and that's a hard hit first to first base right
Tom
there.
Thibodeau.
And I am not a bigot.
By Castellanos, it will be a home run.
There it is. There it is. Yeah, I always love it when the announcer guy remembers he actually has a job to do and goes back to doing it. But it's just such a drastic transition from the boner jokes to the first pitch of the top of the inning. So Keith Hernandez,
Paul O'Neill's got some good ones too.
I think we need to bring more, because again, we're about to be in the summer of only baseball.
We got to get.
So we're gonna have some more baseball commentary clips.
Keith is gonna be. He's our golden boy. You know, that's golden boy right there.
Pretty tough to beat.
I'm saying?
It's pretty tough.
But
to
we're
beat.
gonna have to bring in some fresh talent, some fresh arms, and
you be on the lookout, and
that's gonna be hard googling for me.
all of y'all listening. If you hear,
I'm gonna have to take a blue chew and do it.
Yeah, chew it and do it. If you hear any good baseball commentary, send it our way.
Yeah, please, man.
But so that show idea, I think I'm fully in support of.
I never knew that was Keith Hernandez, dude. Like, until you said it, I was like, and then I didn't put it together until I was like, oh yeah, Keith.
Some of the other ones though are a bit,
oh yeah,
kind of on the cutting room floor for now.
Oh man, those are my, like, you know, I'm relaxing at home in a subtle state of serenity and unconsciousness, and I'm like, this is gold, Jerry. This is gold.
Are there any? If you
told you to get that drop,
what would be the one that you would push the hardest for right now?
Oh man, right, man, you put me on the spot. I have to go scroll up.
Not really, because we
like.
talked about this before the show in our production.
I thought we were just going to deal with the Keith Hernandez one, dude.
I'll tell you, the Tinder Tales one.
Yeah, the Tinder Tales, the tales from the bar to the streets, the girls that were used to be the bartenders that get up and get drunk and just shake their booties, and now I have to see them be nurses and like real estate agents. And
I think that's a good
PTA meetings, and like, I was like, oh, your kid goes to Johnson too.
I think Johnson. We're gonna have a Johnson fun fact in the lightning round.
Hey.
That one I could see like having like a serialized or like a chronicle, chronicles of Tinder Tales, having recurring.
We got to go on
one
location.
I'm kind of on that one I kind of still like.
Tinder Tales is like the bartenders tell me the best stories, either about me or something that happened to them. I had one of them tell me, and I was like, so what is your craziest story? She's like, well, I got pistol whipped. And I was like,
that escalated quickly.
I was like, that would make a Tinder tale.
Yeah. First of all, the idea of getting pistol whipped, like, one, that means I'm already in a situation where someone has a gun pulled on me. So, like, I'm like,
I looked at her, I was like, why are you running? Well, my boyfriend was in a fight, and I'm like, you're an idiot.
Yeah,
let him fight.
That's just let it go. First of all, like, I guess at the end of the night, I'd rather get pistol whipped than pistol popped. Yeah. So keep the ideas coming, and I think we'll have some fun with some audio grab bags with some baseball announcers as we get into the summer. Let's see. How about we do a little main segment here, because obviously with the NBA Finals kicking off tomorrow night, we've talked a lot over the last couple weeks throughout the playoffs. And one of the trends or one of the kind of national talking points that has been held up the most is this whole face of the league debate. And obviously we've talked a lot about the transition the league is going through right now, where the most well-known stars in the league are in their mid to late 30s and aging out. And now everyone is rushing to crown someone different each week as the new face of the league. So
I just don't know why they don't let it happen organically.
That's I think it was Barkley that said it. ESPN quit trying to crown whoever the face of the league. It's Joker. Who do you say? It's Joker. It's Giannis, and it's SGA. And it has to happen organically.
That was a spot-on impression there, sir. I'm just playing.
It started hot and then
hot garbage
faded a little bit.
It's garbage.
So I thought in our main segment, we would talk a little bit about the some of the trade rumors and NBA news. Like we had the Knicks firing Tibbs, which was pretty shocking.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, and then at the back end here, we're going to look at the NBA players 30 years and under and try to put who we think are the top 15 to 20 in some sort of tier list. Because I think specifically the 30 and under crowd is the crowd. Because if you're going to be the quote-unquote face of the league,
you got to be the face for a while.
Yeah. Exactly. You've got to still have a runway ahead of you that is still your prime. Mm-hmm. So before we get to that, mention the trade rumors. Do you want to start with KD to the Spurs that's heating up, or do you want to talk about the Knicks and Tibbs?
I mean, who's heating it up? Who's like Spurs, like San Antonio beat writers?
No, national guys. I mean, we're getting like Shams is saying he expects KD to be gone within the next 2 or 3 weeks, which is before the draft
trade,
or
his
draft
trade
night.
is heating up.
Right.
But to the Spurs, I don't see I just don't see it.
No, outside there's not.
Besides it being Wemby's favorite player.
Right. Well, and again, the reporting from the trade deadline this year from Shams and others that are respected reporting, there was absolutely mutual interest at the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. So the Spurs were talking to the Suns about a KD trade at the deadline. And if you believe the reporting, it was a mutual there were...
Because I think because Chris Paul was already there and they already had chemistry, they could already had the pick and roll going.
But again, you mentioned the Wemby KD, and apparently KD is somewhat interested in San Antonio. So we've talked about it a lot, the Spurs of what they're looking at trade wise, and the idea of KD, 37 going on 38, would need a contract extension, only has one more year on the deal. So you're extending him 2 or 3 years.
How much do you think he even wants?
Well, the money is
40, 50 a year.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even. I don't think he's taking much of a pay cut, honestly. But I don't think he's looking for 3-year max level extension. But if the money is comfortable for the Spurs, the question becomes: do you use any future assets to speed up the current timeline? Because we've talked a lot about timelines, especially when the Giannis rumors started heating up, and then the Spurs get the number 2 pick. Well, then we hear they're keeping the number 2 pick, but they still have this 14th overall pick.
I also heard that De'Aaron Fox, they're looking at like a 4-year, $229 million.
Yeah, he's going to get extended. Yeah. He's locking in. So
that'll give us 5 years with them.
Right, and that's the question now of you have Fox, you're about to lock him in on an extension. Obviously, Wemby, Castle, now Harper, who you're going to draft 2nd overall.
And that's all like 3-year rookie deals.
Yeah, right? They're all on rookie deals except for Fox. But then outside of that, you're still looking at a path of development with the rest of the roster. That would be still Keldon and Devin and filling out the bench or some role, Sohan. Yeah. But the question of timelines of are you willing to give up the 14th pick in a KD trade? Or are you, even if that's too rich for you, are you interested in giving up a future first-round pick that's highly protected or, not probably going to be, if you're trading your 2029 first-round pick, like you said, in 4 years, you're expecting to be towards the top part of the league. Yeah. So your pick's not going to be as good as it will be.
Just the KD trade just seems like a win now. Like this is the final piece we need to get a championship. And the fact that, I don't think we're in that mentality.
No.
That's why I'm I don't understand why the Spurs are being talked to in that
Let me
field.
counter. As you have suggested, within 2 years, you think they're going to be a top of the West team.
Yeah.
So you would have KD for those 2 years. And then
be 39.
He'd be 39. He'd still be KD. His game is one that ages well because it's all shooting and finesse. He's tall enough to still get his shot off. You're not worried about him losing quickness.
I'm thinking.
See, this is where, because I'm at first.
But he just doesn't fit the Spurs way. I hate saying the Spurs way and all that stuff. He doesn't he would just draw. How much would the Spurs be talked about every day if KD came over?
Oh, I think it would. I don't think it would be the impact you
don't think so?
No, I don't. ESPN wouldn't be leading with it or anything. They would still talk more LeBron, Luka in LA, or the Knicks dumpster fire that it's about to become.
Yeah,
and they would still. I think it's an interesting one because I think there are good arguments to be made on both sides of it. Because the other part of this,
I'm trying to let you talk me into it
right
now.
Because the
right
other
now
part
I'm
of
so
this,
I'm so no.
Specifically, if you're keeping the 14th pick, this is a good year. This is a good draft to have a second lottery pick. We've been talking about how great and deep this draft is. So if you're keeping 14 or even using some of those future first-round picks to move up into the back end of the top 10 or somewhere, there's an argument to be made that outside of your core guys, you need someone else to fill out that bench. So having another developmental lottery pick in this really good draft.
But it puts Wemby at the 5. It doesn't fix, to me, it doesn't fix the 5 hole.
No, and it wouldn't be, like you said, it wouldn't be the final trade to put them over the top or anything like that. It would still, there's still plenty of holes in the roster to fill, but it does make you better instantly. And the proposed trade, just numbers-wise, would be something like Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and some kind of picks, whether it's the 14th pick this year or a future first.
So we're not giving away our main core, right? Which that's where you can talk me into a little bit like that, but he definitely can't play. He can't play the 5. He's got to play the 4. No. He's got to play. He's got to play damn near the 3.
Oh, sure.
You know what I'm saying? Wemby the 4. Is there a 5 out there that we could actually spend money on, with a 3-4 year deal that's worth the damn?
Well, Naz Reid is the name that always pops up with
what about
his
buddy
pending.
Out of Memphis? Is he
which one?
Porter or Portis?
Triple J.
He might have been. I don't know. I think.
Milwaukee, Bobby Portis. Yeah. I mean, he's a serviceable one, but that's still no one that you're.
It's not elite.
No, and you're not holding on to him for the next 5 years to build around the young group.
What about Embiid? Put Embiid down there.
Well, look, now that would be interesting.
That would be insane.
But he also would never stay on the court because he's never healthy. I think I've seen a lot of people
on the court. Just we do the Tim Duncan treatment on him.
Well, he's still got to be out there to win when it actually does matter. It's still he's not even out there for that for Philly. But I've seen really good arguments on both sides of this discussion of no, keep all of your assets. KD is not the move now. Even if you're giving up a future first-round pick, that's a pick that you can use in 2 years to make a big swing once you have some of these other kind of issue, like big man, still missing a big, all these other holes. But it's interesting to hear the mutual interest between the two because KD's leaving Phoenix. It's
Yeah.
one way or another. I wrote the other teams I had, Rockets, I think absolutely would be a team that would jump at the chance because they are more looking to win now.
That seems like a better fit.
Kind of does, yeah. The Knicks, who knows what they're about to do? I mean, who knows? They fired Tibbs after reaching the conference finals for the first time in 25 years.
I don't get that.
They've got Bridges, who needs a contract extension after next season. So they've either got to commit to him or trade him now. Cat doesn't look like a long-term fit with the rest of that group. And Bridges also, it seems like some behind the scenes, he was complaining about how much Tibbs was playing him. So if Bridges was maybe not the absolute reason you fired Tibbs, but was part of the reason, that tells me you're probably sticking with him and trying to work out some kind of extension.
It's like you pick the player over the coach.
So who would say no right now, Cat for KD? Like, would the Knicks say no to that?
I mean, Cat for KD, they wouldn't say no. They take KD
I
all
think
day.
they would too.
Yeah,
and the Phoenix would say absolutely. Now we have Cat to pair with Devin Booker.
Yeah.
It's a much better situation
I
for
would
us
love,
now.
maybe get Cat in a 3-way deal and get a bunch of picks from us. I would take Cat as a 5.
Now that would be interesting.
You telling me if Cat came with us as a 5 and just the way he rebounded, the way he hustled for the Knicks, and now you're literally not having to be the second option. For the playoffs.
That would be the Cat one. I didn't think had any legs to stand on of him being available, but the way they're handling business now, it just feels like anything the Knicks do next wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, something went down. Like when Cat only played 23 minutes in Game 2, something was up.
Yeah,
and then you saw him arguing on the sideline. There's some internal things.
Well, and there's also that whole the Villanova guys and then Cat. And not, there's as much as it shouldn't matter. Like there has to be some cliquish nature to that. I could see the Pistons trying to swing big after moving up into the playoffs again, looking to make
Cade's looking crazy, dude.
Right? Looking to make some kind of move that bumps them up another level.
I would get hype on Cat. Like if they do a 3-way trade and then we give up the 14th pick to Phoenix.
Cat's not as young as you're thinking, though.
No,
How old do you think he is? I think he's 29 off the top of my head because I was looking at
32,
that.
Dude.
Oh, okay. Well, then he's young. Yeah, he's 29. He turns
29?
30,
Oh, okay.
but he turns 30 in November.
I thought Pop had interest in Cat a while ago, like 5-6 years ago. There was rumors about Pop wanting Cat. And I think if we could make that happen, we could shell out some money because we have money to burn for like 2 to 3 years before we have to pay Dylan Harper. We have to pay Stephen Castle. Wemby's going to get his super. Like, I'm sure he's going to get not the super max, but he's going to get the max. And then, right? Is that how it works? You get the max and then get the super max?
He'll end up, you have to qualify for the super max now. So.
Yeah, you have to be all first team NBA.
Or win Defensive Player of the Year, which he's going to if he stays healthy, or win MVP, and that bumps you up to Supermax eligible too. The Cat one, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about because even like that matches perfectly with De'Aaron Fox being 28, 29 years old, same age as Cat. So now you've still got a connected timeline.
And now Cat's got playoff experience.
Which he had in Minnesota before, but now
it was ramped up.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Big time. But he was, Cat played in the Western Conference Finals last year and the Eastern Conference Finals this year. I just thought about that. And the other team I had written down was maybe Minnesota, too, who's about to they're going to have to do something with that roster with the Naz Reid pending free agency after he opts out of that player option. So I don't know. Like, if the Spurs traded for KD and only gave up, like, if the 14th pick this year is the one that I hesitate because if they do start to get as good as is expected over the next few years, you're not going to have many other opportunities where you could potentially have 2 lottery picks in a draft this good.
No, even I mean, we still have Hawks.
Still have the Hawks, and Charlotte didn't convey. I think it was Charlotte kept that pick, so that one's still protected, moves on to another year. So there's, the only team that has more, this is ridiculous, the only team that has more future assets in draft picks
is Oklahoma.
Oklahoma City. Yeah. And they're already so damn good. They're set up so well for the next decade.
So it's like right now, it's like they're set up. So that's why I'm like, we need to start giving away some of these picks, to get some talent, And I mean, I'm hyped, man. If we get Cat, I think that could push our timeline up a year.
Well, we're extreme hypotheticals here.
Extreme.
But if you get, if that were to happen, you're all of a sudden, the timeline is now. Like, it's not to be expected to be a champion, but like then all
we're
of a sudden.
We're going to make deep run.
Right. Well, and even if they were to trade for KD, I think that gets you
another deep run.
Like, we're not deep run, but playoff appearance. Like, you're not going through.
You think we'd be one and done with KD? I think we'd at least get to the second round. If not,
I think you continue to underestimate how hard it is to win in the playoffs. Like, the teams that lost in the first round this year are still
the teams that lost
miles ahead of where,
because their best players got hurt, man.
That wasn't all of them.
That was the second round.
That was
okay.
I think there's still the instant assumption. Like, KD doesn't move the needle that much, but I think he absolutely does put them in a different level where they currently are if they keep the 14th pick and only, again, we're not, who knows what they do in free agency too. But the next 3 weeks are going to be full of daily rumors of where guys could end up. And it does seem like the Spurs are at least
willing to give up.
Willing and open
not the second pick.
To talk. No, that one's locked in.
Yeah.
And, we talked about that a lot when the Giannis rumors popped up. But they're committed to that super young timeline with that core. But maybe adding, you still like one veteran of KD's caliber might not mean, especially if you're not having to, no offense to Devin or Barnes was great for him this year, but he's a journeyman veteran past his prime. If you're only giving up those 2 guys in a KD trade,
that's not bad.
That's not bad. And of course,
and Vassell also takes money off our books.
Yeah, that's a big deal that, that would immediately become KD's money, but only for the next 3 years. I don't know. It's exciting. This is the, the time when hopefully in 3 years, 5 years from now, when we're looking at sustained success year over year, this is the summer that will be probably remembered for the next decade and a half here in San Antonio. It feels like, and not just for San Antonio, because of this new collective bargaining agreement, I think we're about to see the most summer trades we've potentially ever seen in the NBA. Because
especially
guys,
after that Luka trade, everybody's like,
that shook everybody.
I think everybody's like, well, we got to make a move. We got to do something.
That's a great lead in mentioning the Luka trade, because let's talk a little bit of these NBA 30 and under tiers, because there's, we mentioned the face of the league debate. It drives me insane, but I do understand why people want to rush to crown, like the Halliburton is the most recent one. Like, all of a sudden Halliburton's a top 10 player in the league because of what he's doing. It's like, well, slow down. He's doing.
Hold up.
Or maybe he is. Like, we'll figure it out here in a second. I don't think so, but
I think he's like a Jimmy Butler who turns it on at the playoffs.
Well, and if you actually look at the numbers, the playoff Jimmy actually is a huge myth. He doesn't have no. It's really good branding and PR. He has more games under 20 points than over in his playoff career.
It was just the fact that they went to the finals.
Right.
Twice.
It was carried off of a couple deep runs.
Yeah.
So when you think about the face of the league, mentioned, we're going 30 and under because we want guys that are going to be the face here for the next half decade. So the obvious one, I've got the list ahead of me or in front of me. Joker turned 30 in February. So he's still 30.
His body's not going to last past 35.
What are you talking? His body is made to last till he's 50. He's just a slow prodding, no muscle. Like he doesn't have to. He never gets hurt.
He runs on the court.
No one can affect him physically. I think Joker could play the exact style he plays now, well into his 30s, well into his mid 30s.
When this is on 5 years from now, I'm gonna be like, Joker had to retire for injury. I'm gonna bring it up.
I think there are other players on this list that are way more likely to have retired because of injury in 5 years than Joker. I think Joker is clearly, to me, the top of this list.
He's crafty.
Yeah,
because he doesn't really bang too much, but like that. But you saw what they did to him and how they're nullifying him the past 2 years. They're throwing young people at him and frustrating him and getting them all like
the
at the top
smaller
of the key.
Defender has. I don't think Caruso has cracked the code on Joker, but it absolutely has been the best anyone's been against him in the playoffs.
Yeah,
but he's also still multiple-time MVP, and statistically, I stand by it. Should have won it this year, but because SGA's team had 68 wins, it's hard to argue against that. But Joker, to me, is clearly number one
player.
Right.
Yes.
And that's always the argument. And, mentioned Barkley talking about it earlier. I think the rush to put SGA in the same tier as Joker is a bit crazy to me, too.
Yeah.
Because he still hasn't won anything the team. Mm-mm. They're in the NBA Finals now, and they're heavy, heavy, heavy favorites to win it this year.
Are we going like 1 to 10?
So I was thinking we'd take like the first 15 and then do
let's go
to
top 10
mentions.
and we could throw out 5.
Yeah, because it's going to be – we're going to burn through these once we –
So SGA, I would put SGA at the 5th spot.
Well, no. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I'm doing a poor job of explaining it. Okay. Doing it by tier, I think the only guy that's in Joker's level tier isn't SGA. I think it's just a Giannis. I don't think SGA is above what Giannis is or has achieved yet. Giannis has been top 3 in MVP voting for the last half decade. SGA hasn't done that. Giannis has a championship. SGA hasn't done that.
You wouldn't put Tatum in that tier?
No.
No? Okay.
No, but I think Tatum's not far behind. The Tatum one, though, it really makes me.
You saw what he was doing until he got injured. He was that top tier.
He wasn't. He was
taking over games with 40 points,
but
and
he wasn't
20
Joker
rebounds.
or Giannis level at all. I mean, it was still. They won the championship, so he has the ring to match those guys. But the individual performance.
I'm talking about this year, Tatum. Like he was becoming the Joker,
No.
where he was getting 40 points and 15 rebounds on the reg.
He still didn't even finish top 3 in MVP. The top 3 was still SGA,
I'm still thinking just
Joker, and
playoffs.
Giannis.
I'm still just in playoffs mode. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
no, we're overall
okay.
success. So I stand by the top tier. To me, is still just Joker and Giannis.
Okay,
and then the obvious one, starting tier 2, is SGA.
SGA. Put LeBron on there.
Okay, no, 30 and under.
30 and under.
So, but this is where you have mentioned multiple names. I think this is where you're Tatum, and your Luka, and
we're gonna put Luka in the top tier.
We're in second. We're in tier 2 now.
I know, but I'm thinking right now, I think Luka needs to be up in that tier 1.
No one has more. Oh, you think with Joker and Giannis?
I think Luka deserves to be up there.
The only reason
is defense.
Exactly. The lack of an MVP, the lack of a championship, and the purely one-sided nature of his game. I think
like tier 1.5.
And I think that's where SGA is. I think if we do this, like SGA win the Thunder, win the finals.
So tier 2 is going to be very difficult to get into. So
exactly. As they should be. And I think it's Luka, SGA, it's Luka. And I think those are your top 2. And then This is where it gets really interesting to me because that's the name I was about to say. There are a lot of people that want to put Anthony Edwards in this tier. I love him to death. I love the game. I love watching it. He doesn't have the accomplishments yet of SGA or Luka or Tatum.
He's not a lockdown defender.
No, and he should progress.
Tatum, see, I wouldn't even put Tatum in the tier 2 now.
Really?
Yeah, because he has Jaylen Brown. He has Jaylen Brown.
Sure, but at times Jaylen Brown can't dribble. I mean, there are holes in his game. Yeah. I think the Tatum one gets confusing to me because what's he going to look like if we're talking about the next 5 years?
Yeah.
Well, the next year he's not playing basketball, recovering from the injury, and then when he comes back. That's an injury where we've seen guys come back and not look the same. Granted, it was later in their careers. He's still in his prime.
Yeah.
If we base it off of what we've seen Tatum do so far, I think he's tier 2. Okay. If we project what he's going to be after the injury,
I think it gets a little. Let's throw him 2.
I think we don't discredit his accomplishments because of the injury and hope for the best.
Tier 2, and then we got.
There's a name we haven't mentioned yet that's very obvious.
This is like Wemby.
It's Wemby.
Yeah. Because he racks up the stats. You know, like he's got blocks, steals, points, rebounds, threes, everything. So, do I want to put him in tier 2 right now? No, because he couldn't take us to where we needed to go. Like I think a Tatum could will us to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I think until you see the postseason success and you got to stay healthy. You got to play.
Wemby's top tier 3.
I think, and here's some of the other potential names. So if we're saying Wemby is top of tier 3, some of the other names that are in this consideration between 2 and 3. Donovan Mitchell just had a great season with he's done a lot of good seasons with the Jazz before.
I put him at a 4. How old is he? I thought he was older.
He's still young. He's 29. He's the same age as Cat.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Because he played for.
Yeah, he's
Utah
not,
for a while.
Exactly, but he was young coming out of Louisville. He doesn't turn 29 until September. So we mentioned Ant. Wemby, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson, who we're seeing now become the king of New York. I think those are the 4 names that somewhere.
Because we got to start getting little men in there. A little. So tier 3, I would put Ant in there. Ant's good enough to be tier 3.
I think in no particular order.
Yeah.
I think it's Ant, Wemby. I think it's Ant, Wemby, Donovan Mitchell, and Jalen. I think they are all that tier together.
I'd take that.
And that puts us at 9 so far. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's not much controversy in the way we've lined them up so far. And again, we still haven't even mentioned Halliburton.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's not crossing any of these names that we've mentioned already.
I think he's tier 4. We're seeing what he can do now. He hasn't done this, he did good last year, but that gets you into tier 4.
Yeah.
And now if we're excluding the playoffs, we're just doing like regular season and whatnot.
Well, it's still counting the playoffs, but you gotta.
Well, then where did you put Cade Cunningham?
Well, I mean, he's only been in the playoffs one time, and he
willed the Detroit Pistons
to
almost take out the Knicks.
Sure, but a
non-foul call.
Sure, but a small sample size like that, and you still lost the series. Yeah. It didn't come down to one call. You could have been better.
That was one game, and that could have brought it to, let's say, a game 7.
But it's the same logic of you could have played better in the first half, and then it wouldn't have been a one-shot game at the end.
Yeah, but you know how the refs can work it.
Sure, of course. It's the NBA more so than any league.
You don't think they don't want the New York Knicks over Detroit? They're like, that would be horrible for their ratings.
I do think you're absolute. I think Cade is possibly the top of this tier 4. I think Cade, if we're going, so right now,
Because he's a defender, too.
30 and under,
Yeah.
he's fine.
He's fine.
Joker, Giannis, tier 1 by themselves. SGA, Luka, Tatum. There's your top 5. And SGA, Luka, Tatum, tier 2. Tier 3, Wemby, Ant, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson. There's your top 9. So now this next name is the top of tier 4, but it's also the 10th. It's the last of the top 10.
Okay.
So couple. I'll throw some names out there.
All right.
Karl-Anthony Towns, Evan Mobley, just won Defensive Player of the Year. Great for the defensive anchor for Cleveland. Cade, Ja.
Talent-wise, Ja's so good, man. Talent-wise, it's just that 6 inches in between your ears, man. Like, the kid's not that smart, man. Like, you're doing all the gun stuff on there. You beat up a kid.
Beat up the teenager,
Even though he got acquitted.
Sure.
He got acquitted of it and whatnot.
No, I think Ja is still, as much as the off-field.
He's still a killer, dude.
I as much as the off-court issues are what everyone wants to talk about, I also think we kind of inflate the on-court performance.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's really flashy. It makes great highlights.
Yeah.
But he reminds me a lot of Steve Francis, where it's you're going to watch him play and you're going to walk away thinking, I've never seen somebody at his size do what he did.
Yeah.
And your team's going to be a 5 seed every year.
Now, who's the top person on Houston? Because I'm trying to think of like good teams right now.
I mean, I guess you would probably say Şengün, the big man.
And how old is he?
He's young. He's 22.
Young.
Yeah.
So we got to throw him up there. And then also,
I don't think he's ahead of any of these guys.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that list is the guys like.
What about Jaylen Brown even though he can't dribble?
No, I think he's absolutely in this conversation. Yeah. I think
it's tier 5.
Yeah. Well, who are we locking in at the top of tier 4 here? Out of the names, Cat, Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham, Ja, Jaylen Brown. Who goes in tier 4 here? Or maybe even Trae Young?
Trae Young's one-dimensional. I would go Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen at the top?
Jaylen at the top.
Has the championship. Can play. Is probably the best defender.
Yeah.
Outside of Evan Mobley.
He's made first team All-NBA.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. And
then I go
from there. I think it pretty much goes in the rest of that order that we just laid out. I think this is a Cat, Mobley, Cade, Jaylen Brown, and Ja is the one. Oh, what was that? Oh, disregard.
Disregard that.
Someone's
touch
hot. I think it's Jaylen, Cade, Mobley, and then
Ja.
I think I think I still put Cat above because, again, like we said, Cat was the best player on a Western Conference Finals team last year. Well, I guess maybe Ant was, but he was second best player on 2 conference finals teams behind with Minnie in New York. I think Cat slots in with this list, and I think Ja.
You're gonna put him tier 5.
If he's not,
now we're talking one-dimensional.
We'll put it this way: would you rather have Jaylen Brown or Ja on your team? If you were the Spurs, would you rather have Jaylen Brown or Ja? Would you rather have Cade Cunningham or Ja? Would you rather have Evan Mobley or Ja?
You're right.
Would you rather have Cat or Ja?
Yeah, you said Cat. Yeah.
I think Ja is the top of that tier 5.
Yeah. Okay, I agree.
So that gets us down. We are now, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 13. So Ja was 14th.
Then we got Bronny.
Bronny and Carmelo's son, who's going to be playing at Syracuse next year. This is where I think we start to really get into the honorable mentions, because at this point, trying to separate Trae Young, Halliburton.
Yeah.
I might even put Halliburton over Ja. I think
I kind of like Halliburton over Ja.
And again,
he's got the playoff experience.
If we're talking about,
because he's been in it 2 years in a row now.
What if you were Memphis or if you were Atlanta? Who would say no to a Trae Young for Ja trade? Would Memphis say no?
Oh, Memphis would say no.
They would keep Ja.
They would keep Ja. Purely, he's like, if Memphis for that town, Ja's like a Luka for them right now.
Yeah, well,
He's
we've
a fan.
seen how that can.
He's a fan favorite, man.
Yeah, we've seen how that can go.
I've lived in Memphis a little while, and they definitely they love them some Ja right now.
Yeah, I think that's kind of, again, as we're thinking about it in terms of, this face of the league debate.
Think about all these teams. You got no one under 30 made the list for Warriors. No one under the Sacramento.
Nope.
Luka, the only person.
Yeah.
How old is Anthony Davis?
Oh, he's still young. 23? Yeah, he's not even 24 till August.
Anthony.
Oh, I thought you said Anthony Edwards. No, Anthony. He's 32. He's
32.
Over.
So
yeah,
he's over.
out.
All right. So no one from Dallas. Not yet until they
until
Cooper
draft.
Flag comes in there.
But I would
technically no one from Houston.
Just so I don't get accused of being Cooper Flag would not be anywhere on this list.
Nah, he's got to show.
You got to do something. Yeah.
What about Booker? How old is Booker?
So Booker is still under 30. And
he's still under 30?
Yeah, he's 28. But again,
he's got to be tier 5.
Again, and that's where I think at this point
he's got the playoff experience. He's just digressed a little bit, and I think that's just team chemistry. If he goes somewhere else, he could revamp his game.
And this is where arguing the merits, because I think tier 5 is basically it's going to be all these guys. It's we got Ja at the top, but outside of that, it's your Trae Youngs, your Devin Bookers, the guys that we've seen be in the league for a few years now.
Charlotte,
but it's no one.
What about Orlando guy?
Which one? Paulo?
Yeah.
I think Paulo is probably
he'd go in the tier 6.
Yeah. See, again, I think I would still.
But he did amazing. He did amazing this year.
Yeah. No, I think I would.
That was
personally,
that was
I would
a surprise
value.
Team. That was
I would value Paulo over Devin Booker.
Yeah.
I would if I was thinking about what
right
would
now.
I,
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now. But Devin Booker. 2-3 years
the
ago,
accomplishments, right?
I'd take that Devin Booker.
Yeah, the Devin Booker that led a Suns team to have the best record in the West at one point early in his career. Yeah, I think you're splitting hairs at this point, but between these first 4 tiers, the Joker Giannis are both tier 1, but both on the line of 30. Jokic is 30.
This all goes to who can be the face.
Right. So both of them, your current 2 most consistent MVP finalists, both of those guys are going to be 35 in 5 years. So they're kind of already on that. If we were to do this list of 29 and under and just remove them, then all of a sudden you're debating SGA, Luka, Tatum in tier 1. And that second one is Wemby, Ant, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think
they're accomplished. They got rings and they got MVPs.
I think that's where someone between this tier 2 and tier 3 group is when we think about these arguments we had in 10 years. It's going to be someone on this list. Obviously,
I think after next year, Wemby's going to be the tier 2. He's going to move up. Because he's going to have a full season, and then we're actually going to see what a Wemby with 2.5 years in the league.
Well, and you can also chalk up a defensive player of the year if he stays healthy the whole season, which would put him ahead of anyone in this tier 3 group in terms of individual accomplishments.
And he's he's just crushing stats. So he's going to be top of tier 2, and he could be arguably. Depending on how.
It won't be top of tier 2 until SGA's just won an MVP and is about to win an NBA Finals in 5 games.
But
probably.
That's what I'm saying. This is under 30. SGA would go up to 1.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
Everybody would shift up 1.
And this is, all of the talk about the league not having, being in trouble now that KD and Steph and LeBron and that whole era are finally getting close to retirement. I think if you tell the average fan, like I always call it the mom metric. Mm-hmm. Does your mom know who this player is? Do they know who Luka? Does my mom know who Luka Doncic is?
What you say about my mom?
Well, she does, obviously, because of the Dallas connection. But she would know Luka.
Yeah.
Does my mom know who SGA is?
Probably not.
That's pretty questionable.
Because it's just a small market.
Exactly. And he's Canadian. There's no...
Now, if we're going back to the face of the league, now we're going to the whole, like, I think it's got to be someone from a big market, one of the big cities, and then also he's got to be American.
Why? I hear that, but, that would exclude Wemby. Small market, non-American.
Yeah.
But I think he absolutely has.
You're going to see a big push for Cooper Flag.
Oh, of course. Oh, for sure. That's going to be a
That's
marketing
why do you
machine.
think they've been pushing Ant on us?
Yeah, because he's American, born and raised.
Yeah.
But he's in a small market. So by that metric, he could never be face of the league.
I don't think he's going to last there too long. I see Ant in Miami in 2 years, if not next year.
Yeah, thinking about the health of the league going forward, like Luka's well known. SGA, your reigning MVP on that line.
Yeah.
Tatum. In a massive basketball market, playing for a heritage team like the Celtics.
That's a big market.
I still think Tatum is pretty under-recognized on a national level. Just because he's not a guy like Ant is all personality. Tatum's a boring Midwest kid from St. Louis.
Yeah. He's got the Tim Duncan effect where he's just like, like we came here to do our job. He's not sitting there, doing 3-pointers and chucking them down and like going like this. And
I think you need that to be the face of the league.
Yeah.
You've got to have that personality.
You got to have the King James.
Something.
Something like that. Like who's willing to go take on all that crap? You know what I'm saying? The
name, like obviously Wemby probably has the highest Q rating of anybody in this group. Most recognizable. The Ant one we've talked about. Donovan Mitchell is he's going to be. No one knows who Donovan Mitchell is.
He's got to get out of Cleveland.
Well, I mean, it's no one knew who he was in Utah. No one's going to know who he is. I'm talking on a national average scale. Brunson with the power of the Garden in New York City, and a little bit of his dad being a player, so the Brunson name at least has
second
been
generation.
Exactly. It's been around for 30 years, so there's some more familiarity with him.
I can see a big marketing push for Brunson.
Oh, big time. Yeah,
big time.
Yeah, I think, and even Jalen, extremely soft-spoken dude. Like not a real on the court, he's a killer.
Yeah,
but he's not a real big media. Like you're not getting a lot of viral clips from Jalen Brunson press conferences.
And I think that's kind of like the Boston. They're trying to because they had two of the biggest trash talkers in Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce on there when they won their last championship, and now they have soft-spoken guys. And I think that's more what they're kind of leaning for, just get the job done.
Yeah, very blue collar.
Yeah, blue collar type, Boston, we just came here to win type thing. Spurs-ish.
The other thing, looking at these lists, all of this, you mentioned it specifically, you got to be American rule. Right now, our two guys in tier one, we've got a Serb and a Greek.
It's only Tatum in tier two.
And then tier two, and we just said, Luka and Wemby have better chances of being face of the league than SGA. And even though SGA Canadian, that's not as foreign as the
they're doing a
others.
lot of good things with Wemby, showing him playing chess out in there in the market. They're I think if there's anything, Ant was right, where it's Wemby's going to be the guy that's going to be the face of the league. Just because A, they can market it overseas, and B, he is a good kid. He's not sitting there doing pulling out guns.
And as stupid as it is, that does matter to the.
Oh, it matters.
To
sponsors,
right?
It's
exactly.
it's all what ads, what sponsors can I get to sell my product, and how can I attach this guy? Is this guy going to ruin my brand?
The one thing now that Luka is in LA, when the Spurs get good, it will be Spurs Lakers again, and that's something that the national they won't be selling necessarily Wemby and the Spurs, but they'll be selling the Lakers Spurs rivalry and it's right, exactly, all of the reliving the glory days, and now it's Luka and Wemby instead of Timmy and Shaq or Timmy and Kobe. I think that is very likely.
That's only if they can put the right pieces around Luka, because Bron's out of there in 2 years. What do you think? 42? He can't play past 42.
He's two more, probably only next year,
Yeah,
maybe 2 years. But all that being said, Luka's offensive ability is one of those where it can carry you to, you're going to be a playoff team at minimum every year, just because he's going to get so many easy shots for other guys and then give up easy shots on defense.
And 20 free throws a game.
You keep saying that. I wish you actually had watched Luka for the first 6 years of his career, because he should have shot way more free throws than he
doesn't shut up.
Exactly. They hate him.
But
they
now
won't
he's
give
in
him
LA.
any calls. Now he
he's
will.
in LA, and now he's going to get his 20.
Now he will start getting 20 free throws a game. So, yeah, I think overall the rush to crown anybody is just that, a rush. But when you actually write it down on paper, I think there are, the people that are crying wolf and suggesting that the NBA is going to have a rough patch of popularity.
I don't know, man. That's a lot of good names right there.
It is.
Like, when you go to the golden years with Jordan and stuff like that, how many names could we name off? Probably, you get all the dream team, that's 12. And then probably, because Isaiah got missed, because Jordan didn't want him. And then probably 3 or 4 more. So if you have a good 15, 20 people, your league is doing great.
Yeah, but I guess that's my question. Do they have that after?
I think right now we got 15 right there.
But here's, as much as we love
And we got Cooper Flagg coming in, and we got Dylan Harper coming in, and we got, people coming up, that haven't proven themselves yet.
I think the majority of this list here is guys that are just now stepping into the spotlight.
Yeah.
Ant has been introduced to a national audience back-to-back years now with deep playoff runs. Obviously, SGA with Oklahoma City's ascension and now the MVP trophy, he's announced he's in the spotlight. Tatum wins it last year, beats Luka in the finals, though.
Out of the top 2 tiers,
building.
Everybody else is now stepping into the spotlight. The top 2 tiers, they've already had the attention on them, and they're obviously older, 29 for Joker and Giannis.
I also think there's a huge gap between Jalen Brunson at the bottom of tier 3 and Jaylen Brown at the top of tier 4.
You think that's a huge gap?
I do. I think looking at the rest of tier 4, like Jalen, Cade Cunningham, Mobley, and Cat, I think those guys are quite a bit down from Wemby, Ant, Donovan Mitchell, and Jalen Brunson.
They need about 2 more years of proving themselves.
Yeah. And Mobley, a little more team success with that Cleveland group.
And we still got some of the old heads sticking around for 2 or 3 more years. So it's while they're basically cutting their teeth, getting that success, getting into the spotlight, we still got, Curry's still going to be there for a little bit. James going to be there.
Yeah,
Durant's going to be
Curry
there.
will be here longer than KD or LeBron, but
you think Curry's breaking down, man?
I just think because he's just his shooting ability, I think Dirk was an absolute shell of himself at the end, but he could just the shooting ability. I think keeps making you think, well, I can always just shoot.
But Curry's always running off screens and stuff like that. Can he run off a screen?
It doesn't age well.
It doesn't age well.
That
he's
game.
a spot up shooter. Can he transition just to a spot up shooter?
Yeah, I think simultaneously the people that are saying the league is in trouble have some truth to support themselves, and the people that are saying the league is in a great position might ought to question some things. Like there's truth in, as most things, there's a little bit of truth on both sides of the argument. LG, why don't we close it out with a little bit of lightning round here? Have either of y'all seen any of the reporting regarding the college football playoff and some of the back and forth with the SEC and the Big Ten versus everybody else?
Yeah.
So the rush, like today, it was Ryan Day, the Ohio State coach, saying he wants the Big Ten to have 4 guaranteed playoff spots. When they expand it, because it's going to be expanded to 16.
They're already taking West Coast teams and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I guess his argument was if you don't provide the 2 best, because he said the SEC should get 4 guaranteed as well. So they want to have 8 of the 16 go directly to the Big Ten and the SEC. And then their proposal was Big 12 would get 2 guaranteed, ACC would get 2 guaranteed, and then the group of 5 schools would get 1, and then the rest would be at large. That would then you have 3 at large. That would be your 16 teams.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
The only reason I would,
but a 16-team playoff,
that's going to happen regardless. Yeah. But when you start to guarantee spots for the 4th best team in a conference, no matter what conference it is, that doesn't exactly feel to me like we're doing things correctly.
Yeah, it's not. It's like, what was it? It's not. We're going away from a DEI program.
Yeah, like this feels like it's. I understand you're playing in the toughest conference in America, SEC. I understand you're playing in the second toughest conference, Big Ten. But also just the rush to assume that because of that, you're deserved.
Our top 4 teams are better than the other.
That's the thing that kills me. You're not arguing that your best team would beat people. You're arguing that your 4th best team 3 years from now, if this were to get implemented, would be deserving of a spot over the 3rd best team in the Big 12 or the ACC. And that is highly likely, while I agree. Yeah. It just doesn't feel like something we need to guarantee.
Right. Hit me, LG. Man. So we have one Meta World Peace wanting to be the new head coach of the New York Knicks, and I am here for it, man. That would be
fun.
That would be malice in the palace times 2.
Yeah, that would be brawling in the garden.
That would be so good.
It's funny. Another name. Apparently the Knicks have some level of interest in J-Kid.
Really?
Yeah, and if you remember, after the Mavs didn't re-sign any of that championship team after 2011, J-Kid actually played for the Knicks those next 2 years.
Give Meta a chance.
So he has some connection.
Give Meta a chance.
I would be more than happy to see J-Kid leave Dallas, but for pure entertainment purposes, give me Meta World Peace trying to just – could you imagine how much he would yell at Cat, like every time Cat would do one of his goofy faces or anything like that?
Little sassy pass.
Well, and also, are we sure Meta World Peace might not actually – like he was one of the smartest basketball IQ players of that generation.
If there's one thing he knew how to play ball.
Might not be a bad head coach. Just maybe might need to get some seasoning at the end of a bench somewhere. Hit me, LG. I mentioned a Johnson High connection when you randomly said it earlier. San Antonio just had a kid win Gatorade Texas Baseball Player of the Year.
Whoa.
And it's the first time a San Antonio kid has ever won the award.
Because that usually goes to Dallas kids.
Or Houston, yeah. Or, hell, even Austin or the Valley.
Wow.
The Valley always cranks out good baseball programs. But not only it's Johnson's Kason Cunningham, not only is he the first San Antonio kid to win the award, well, first of all, he hit .509 this season.
Jesus.
So, I I think Johnson went. I saw it earlier. They were like 21-13, made the playoffs, but didn't make a deep run. But it wasn't because of him.
Yeah.
He hit over 500 on the season, plays shortstop. So, he's just a stud, right?
Oh, man.
I
got to ask my kid if he knows him.
Well, I have to admit, I wish I had known more about this kid during the season because I would have. He's a UT commit, but he's probably not going to go to UT because he is the 11th player on the big board for the upcoming MLB draft.
So they're putting him at number 11.
I was looking at it earlier, what was not Baseball Prospectus, but one of these, recruiting one of these draft, big board aggregators, and he's falling somewhere between right outside the top 10, but somewhere
that's a couple
in the
million
team.
right out the gate. But
but
you get now we got NIL money.
Yeah, but it's not Texas football NIL money.
But it's Texas baseball.
Yeah, I don't think they're.
You don't think they're going to give him a couple mil?
No, they would, but I don't think they would match. He would if he went 11th in the upcoming baseball draft.
Yeah.
He would make more turning pro immediately. I don't think
he'd
Texas
be like a Bryce
would.
Harper, where he'd be on the field at 19.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he still would go through somebody's system,
Yeah, but did Bryce Harper even do a AAA or AA? I think he went straight to the field.
I thought he had some level of seasoning. I think he was still a call-up because he was also so young because he had skipped senior year of high school and played that 1 year of JUCO.
Okay.
So he was like a super, super young
that might have been it.
number one pick. I wish we had gone and seen him because he's about to potentially go top 10, and he's one of the best shortstops in all of America.
Oh, man. I can't wait to see what he does. Hit me, LG. We didn't have. I've never heard of this one. We had a yes hitter. One Brandon Pfadt, Pfaadt.
Brandon Fant.
Through the first yes hitter in baseball history. He went 0 innings, 6 hits, 8 runs, 8 ERA, 0 Ks, 0 balls on base. Which means if there was 8 runs, he just decked a couple people hit by pitch.
That is so. Why is it called a yes hitter?
Because a no hitter is you didn't get me. A yes hitter is everybody got me.
Okay.
The whole team got him.
That feels.
And they had to yank him before even one out.
That
before
feels
even one out.
More like a spring training line than I've ever seen.
Seems like it was like a David Wells on if he wasn't the greatest,
user of acid.
No, you're thinking of Doc Gooden.
It was Doc. Yeah, no, David.
He threw that perfect game when he was hungover.
Yeah.
But that was the sweet Doc Gooden who was high on some acid and threw a perfect game.
It's still one of the greatest accomplishments in athletic history. Hit me, LG. A couple of Cowboys notes real quick. First of all, Dak had a kid, and if I'm Dak, there is no way I am putting pictures out of my partner and newborn baby because all of the comments, all of the replies were just...
The internet's going to win, dude.
Yes,
the internet's undefeated.
They just destroyed the man as he's making his baby announcement to the world, and it's nothing but memes and... jokes about the baby getting intercepted coming out.
Let's see if LG has the pic that I sent him for last show. You can show right here. Speaking of babies, hit me, LG. Yeah, hit the lightning. Get that lightning. Oh man, you're gonna tell me that there's not ugly babies out there. This baby looks like Woody Harrelson.
Oh, yeah.
They put this baby up there, and the internet got it and said, okay, but how does the daughter look like Woody Harrelson? And sweet Woody, he put, "Oh, to Cora, you're an adorable child, flattered to be compared. You have a wonderful smile, and I wish I had your hair." Sweet Woody Harrelson.
Yeah,
man.
I just can't imagine. Like,
my God.
imagine that being like your niece or something, and you're looking at, you see it all the time at family function, and you're just staring like, this is the creepiest thing I've ever seen in my life. And you can't tell your brother that, like, dude, you got a
like horror movies,
got an ugly ass baby.
If your baby freaks me out, I'm gonna tell you your baby's freaking me out, man. Like I was the person who actually was trying to be like godfather to one of my friend's kids, and they like did the name, and I said, that's a horrible name.
Oh yeah, no,
They hated me so much for like a year.
You went full Kenny Powers when that first season where she tells like, we named her Rose after my favorite movie character. It's like the Titanic.
That was the stupidest name.
Like, what the hell? Why didn't you name him Shrek?
I was like, dude, I couldn't believe I said it. And like, she's now in high school, and she's the most beautiful little girl, and I love her name now. But like, when it first happened, I'm like, that's dumb.
Look, if it's dumb, you got it. If it's dumb, it's dumb. Hit me, LG.
Dak Prescott sucks.
Yeah, exactly. The other Cowboys note I had, Trayvon Diggs is not rehabbing with the team after the knee injury last year. He is set to lose $500,000 off of his $9 million base salary because the Cowboys are one of the only teams that write in contract de-escalators for not attending voluntary offseason workouts.
So they're not voluntary.
They are, because he still has the option, and he didn't have to sign the contract.
But that's like I still have the option to go play for the Cowboys, but I can technically not show up whenever I want to.
But the contract that he agreed to says they can keep the money. It feels like the players' union is probably not very happy with it.
I'm thinking the lead is voluntary. The word voluntary means, I'm not going to be penalized if I don't do something. But
that's usually what the word voluntary means.
It's like you know how to take the reservation. You just don't know how to hold the reservation. And that's really the important part about it. That's the whole thing about the reservation is the holding part.
Old Seinfeld.
Got to get me out of here on the Seinfeld, man.
Hit me one more time, LG, and we'll close it out here. The great Uncle Andy is finishing up his Scotland trip. So shout out to Uncle Andy as he travels back home from across the pond.
I wonder how many courses he played.
He played 11 courses in 11 days.
God, my knees just hurted.
Yeah, and he's twice our age. Or not twice our age, but he's got some years on us.
Yeah, man.
He's got some years. So shout out Uncle Andy. And then we'll close it out with this. Last night, I met up with one of my high school buddies who's in town with his whole family doing the summer vacation to San Antonio. So they were, yesterday, they did all the downtown. They did the river boats. They did, what else? They did the Tower of the Americas. He took his whole family up there.
Still never been on that one. I don't get being in an elevator that long.
But it got me thinking. It got me to think. He also took his family to the Alamo. Surely there's no way someone has left a 1-star review on the Alamo.
Oh, let's hear the 1-star reviews.
So let's close it out with a couple 1-star reviews on our beloved Alamo. Marcy says, this used to be an amazing historical site. It is not any longer. I'm going to read it exactly how she wrote it.
Oh, my God. That's like a third grader
We can't assume. I'm reading exactly what she wrote. Another loss, the crazy woke agenda, super crowded tourist trap. So to Marcy, the woke agenda has
is the Alamo.
It doesn't make any sense. It never does. But Marcy just says it is deserving of a 1-star. David, who I will give his last name, David Wang. I'm not making it up. 1 star.
There's a lot of Wangs in Asia.
This place is way too overrated. It's just an old church and bunch of old walls. There's no fort or anything remarkable to look at. Sure, a historical event happened here, but there's no benefit to seeing the walls in person versus just reading about the event in a book. If you feel it's significant, then you'll love this place. But the ruins themselves aren't interesting. Of all the things I saw in 97-degree humid heat, This was the most boring. So 1 star from David.
What do you think anything historical has? Like, is it going to, like, fluff you or something? Is it going to, like, give you a reach around?
Exactly.
Like, you're going to go see walls and old things.
You chose to go to a UNESCO historical site. Like, brother, that's on you.
Someone's going to pop out the corner and scare you. Like,
we'll close it out with one more from Andrew here, who he suggests go to the zoo. Don't spend your time for this, bricks. My son had wrote article. I'm reading again exactly how he wrote.
Oh, my God, dude.
My son had wrote article about Alamo, so we came here to see it. Waste of your time. Well, Andrew, I think I speak for everyone on the program here. You could not be more wrong, but we will give you the final thought of the episode tonight. You did deserve that, at least for a
Andrew, you write well.
An idea.
It make me feel happy.
Andrew, your Alamo review, not good. Andrew, 97-degree humid heat weather is just called the summer here. Get us out of here, LG. Thanks again, everybody riding along. If you haven't noticed, these episodes are going a little longer. Maybe we have a little bit more planned, or at least are planning a little bit more going into them. Yeah. If you want to reach us, you can find me at Biggest Puma on X, Biggest.Puma on Insta.
Oh, Insta, the Captain 210. Still working on that TikTok.
We'll get that TikTok eventually.
Still working on that TikTok.
But let's hear from you. Till then, y'all be good, be safe. Peace.
Kids, what do we say about drugs?